up? I'm Janice, or Barb, whatever you would prefer to call me. Just do not call me Janice or Barbara. And today we're going to be getting into my recap and review for the Kings of Napa. This is still season 1. This is episode 5, how Stella got her Pinot back. And today's candle will be Give Peace by Bath & Body Works, and it has warm vanilla, fresh bergamot, and sweet sandalwood. So check it, y'all. This episode begins with, we see August still at her place, and she's kind of like just catching some Z's on the couch, and we kind of see like Deep Voice, or the extortionist, whatever you want to call him, is bumping around in her place. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And she's tossing, turning on the couch, tossing, turning. And before anything happens, she wakes up and she's not there. So I don't know if it was a bad dream or what, but she gets a call from Grace and tells her she needs to get down here because stuff is all out of whack. So come on down to the vineyard. And she does, but before she does, she kind of notices the windows open, and I'm just like, so I don't know. We don't know if he was there or if he wasn't there. Meanwhile, back at the vineyard, Grace is telling her like, hey, we need Bridget back, point blank period, because this whole thing is just not working right now. So she's all like, August is all like, oh, like, oh crap. She knows she's gonna have to go woo her mom, so she goes back inside to do so. And surprisingly, Vanessa's on board, and she even says that she's been actually thinking about, the whole thing, the whole Bridget thing and whatnot. And I think that was that for that scene. We also see like a quick little snippet of Yvette still rolling around the house, begging to be taken back into the house. And Vanessa's not having that, but she kind of like propositions her to, if she can get business from this one distributor that they've never been able to get business from, then she might reconsider having her back up in the house. And I'm just like, oh boy, well, we know that is probably never gonna happen, or will it? I don't know, we'll see. And she's also off to New York to work on finding a designer for the label for the new dessert wine. So August and Vanessa actually go over to Bridget's house to get her back on board. And we also see Bridget at this exact time, she's kicking Melanie out of her place. She's like, listen, it's just too much. You just gotta go and we'll figure out the rest later. So she's doing that. And when they come over and state their piece, Bridget's kind of like apprehensive, of course, but she winds up coming around. They hug and everything is everything. And Vanessa actually asks Bridget to join her when she goes to New York for this business trip. So we'll see how that turns out. We also learned that Dana and Rose have been having some infertility issues or whatnot. So she's wanting him to go to the fertility specialist to get his sperm count checked or whatever, I think. So we'll get into a little bit of that later. I believe this is also when we see Christian and his little boo thing. I think her name is, I don't know, I thought I wrote it down, but maybe I didn't. He's still kind of like torn about what he's supposed to do about this information about Bridget. How last week he found the drugs in her bag and whatnot, and he's just trying to figure out what he's supposed to do about that. And little girl offers to, be by his side and help him out, get through these tough times. And he's like, nah, you catch Uber home. I'm good. And she's like, ew, I'm out. And she storms out.
Meanwhile,
Christian also hears Grace and August speaking about Bridget, and that's when he decides like, no, I can't hold this any longer, because they're talking about how they're about to bring her back on board. And he's just like, he lets it out of the bag that he found these drugs in her bag and whoop-de-whoop. And August is like in disbelief. She's like, we just got on good terms. This is too much. I can't take it. Really, Bridget? Nah, it can never be her. And she's like, I gotta call Quincy and tell him about this. And we gotta figure something out. You gotta figure something out because this is too much. At the same time, Dana walks in after August said, no, we're not gonna tell Dana. He walks in and boom, bam, thank you, ma'am. Christian lets him know as well that what is going on.
Later.
Next major scene was Kelvin and August. They're out on a little date or whatever. They're having a good time, strolling down memory lane. And before things can get really steamy, she's saved by the bell, and it is actually Quincy on the phone, and he's letting her know that Mr. Otis is actually awake, and the cops are going to come by and probe him for questions, probe him for information tomorrow. So they should probably get down there right now and ask him whatever they want to ask him. So she pops smoke and is like, I gotta go. And he comes with her. They go down there and they're like,
what the hell? And I can't believe you would extort us and my father. Like, how could you? We really trusted you. Like, how dare you?
and he's like, whoa, 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 like extortion. I don't know what you're talking about as far as that, but yeah, grapes, I was definitely stealing those because your father was actually supposed to help me launch my own wine, and he kept putting it off and putting it off, and I finally was like, nah, I can't wait any longer. So I had been taking grapes to produce my own wine on my own. So when they rolled up on me, I thought that they were trying to bust me out for that, or I don't know, I'm a black man, so who knows. And that's what happened with that. So this is like another curveball, and it's like our number one guy right now, our number one suspect, is clearly going to be exonerated from this. So it's like, okay, where are we gonna go with this? I don't know right now. I do not know. We also see Dana. He actually does wind up on the clinic, and he's going to obviously provide his sample. We didn't get the results of that this week, but that's that. Quincy, Christian, and August are sitting down, and he reveals that the phone calls have been pinging from, I guess, a tower close to Bridget's house or whatever over the past year. So they're all like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. And he wants to bug her house, and she's like, no, I just can't do this. We just got back on good terms. And she's like going through it for a second until she finally is like, okay, fine, do what you gotta do. We also see, remember last week Melanie wasn't feeling well? Well, she is actually following up with the doctor right now, and she has this wild rash all over her body. We do know that she just got back from doing some work over in, I think it was it West Africa? I'm not sure. So the doctor's like, you might want to have your family check up on this. We'll run some tests, but like have your family like look after you or whatever. And she's like, oh no, I'll be fine. Like she's putting on this great face and whatnot. And we all know the truth is because none of her family is messing with her right now. So I'm assuming we'll get the results back from whatever's going on with her in the near future. I don't know what that is, what that rash and all that symptoms and stuff is representative of, but I'm interested to find out. Vanessa and Bridget reach NY. They're having a good old time and whatnot, and going back and forth. And I think at one point Melanie calls and she's like, no, I'm not about to do this right now. And Vanessa's, I don't know, like I was hoping this was just a pure moment in between them, but we soon find out that that's not the case. And Vanessa says, I don't remember what she said, but she basically tells Bridget she has somebody that she wants to meet. And I'm like, okay, we'll see who that is. Meanwhile, back in Napa, August is like going back and forth. She has this flashback at one point of when Bridget said like, oh, you don't ever want to see that side of me, like back when they were like, I guess teenagers or something, and something happened. And she was like, so she was going back, when something happens and somebody like shows you something and you're like, whoa, and then you go back and start like questioning everything and reconsidering everything as a red flag or whatever. That's basically what August is doing at this moment, which makes sense. But she works herself up so bad that she has a panic attack. Apparently she's having a panic attack because she has a history of having panic attacks or whatever. Luckily, Christian is there to provide some comfort in that time, and she is just like still so just in disbelief that it's just, you know, this cannot be Bridget. This cannot be my newly found sister. And I actually made a mistake previously. This is the moment where Dana comes in and Christian tells him, we think it's Bridget because we found this in her bag and da-da-da-da. And he's like, okay. So, you know, now Dana's in the loop. So we already know this is probably just going to go all types of crazy. Moving on. Yvette is in there wooing and whining this distributor. And at first I thought he was going to be like, slow your roll, but he actually fell for it. He fell for her antics because we find out that he's like, okay, I'm down to work with you because you're not bougie like the rest of your family. I refuse to ever do business with them because nope, not gonna happen. Never. Tell me what movie that came from in the comments below. But they're just going, and she's, you know, laying it on super thick, which I'm like, okay, if it works, it works, but I don't think it's going to. And next thing we see, August and Kelvin are on the phone, and he is like giving her some, you know, off the record advice, you know, because she's not his client, so he can't really be like, you know, learn those lines. Okay. And he's like, no, if you were my client, I would tell you not to bug Bridget's house because that's illegal and whatnot. But we know she gonna do it anyway. She's gonna do it anyway. Fast forward back in New York, Vanessa and Bridget are in like a nursing home, assisted living facility, and we see this older woman get wheeled out, and she starts saying something along the lines of, I always told you weren't gonna get married with them thunder thighs or something. And I'm just like, and I was like, it clicked at this very moment. I'm like, go back to my review. I don't know if it was last week or the episode previously. And I said, remember, there was that little snippet in there when they were talking about the funeral, and they're like, yeah, and mama didn't even come to the funeral or whatever because she's always in Paris, so she never comes around or whatever. And I was like, huh, that's weird. But I like made a mental note of that. It's because this woman who was throwing out these insults like that is actually Vanessa and Melanie's mother. And I'm not sure if she has like some form of like dementia or something like that is going on, but Vanessa says like she never really even probably wanted kids, and she tells Bridget this is her grandmother, and she kind of explains that she actually thinks that Bridget is Melanie at one point. So that's why I said before, I'm like, I'm not sure if she is like has like dementia or what is going on, but she don't see it for them, and she clearly was not missing them in her life. And Vanessa says that ever since she had a nervous breakdown after the death of their father, and it was brought on, his death was actually brought on by an aneurysm due to him and Melanie arguing or whatever, because she used to be the wild child and she came home super drunk or whatever. She was lit and she came home, and yeah, and they've just kind of been pretty much covering up the truth from the whole family this entire time, making up, you know, like, oh, she's traveling, oh, she just doesn't want to come or whatever for past years. And so this is another major curveball. And I told y'all last week or so. I think she even says something happened, and she's like, you should have died instead. I'm guessing she means about, this is when she was mistaking Bridget for Melanie, and I'm assuming she was speaking on behalf of like the dad dying. She says Melanie should have died instead, and I'm just like, whoa. I think I missed the part where Melanie or August says like she's looking around her house. That's when she was on the phone with Kelvin, and she was looking around her house and she discovered there was cameras in her house and audio recorders or whatever. She's like, what the? So she runs down on Quincy on the street and is like, bro, what the heck? Like, why are these up in my house? What is going on? He's like, psh, you're not the only one that's paying me. And keeps on walking, and I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go. And she's like, And she already knows. We already know it was Dana, because he said he was gonna do it. And I'm just like, oof, boy. Rose and Christian have like a little like 2-second moment, nothing big, but August comes in and whatnot. Bridget also comes back. This is when Bridget and Vanessa come back home, and you could tell like Bridget's being even more distant and kind of like, I don't know, and something's going on with her. And she's like, oh, there's my bag, I forgot it. And everyone's kind of like, elephant in the room. And she also goes, hey, Rose, want to go dancing tonight? And Rose's like, yeah, of course I want to go dancing tonight. And we're just like, okay. August is like, okay, whatever. But tell me why Yvette thought it was okay to be effing this man, this distributor, up in Vanessa's room, like, or maybe her old room, who knows. But she had on Vanessa's robe. And she's trying to hurry up and get him back, you know, doing a walk of shame the next day. Like, come on, get out. Because I got my robe and you gotta go. You know, she's not even supposed to be up in there, as we know. But she was able to seal the deal. And Vanessa's like, oh, okay. She kind of busts her out a little bit. And she's like, you know what? Fine, you can come back home. And she's like, yes. She's excited, of course, because she was not feeling Bridget's slumpy couch. Sorry. Next, we see August bust Dana for, you know, the cameras and whatnot. And he's not remorseful whatsoever, of course, because it's Dana. And he throws everything in her face and is basically, as we probably already concluded early on, he's just jealous of her and, you know, jealous of the fact that she's gotten everything that she's wanted. And he's like, you know, basically, I was going to do you in before you did me in because I saw you looking for other CFOs to hire. And she was like, wow, okay. I'm not even mad because you know what? You're the one who actually looks dumb because I was actually interviewing, yes, for new CFOs, but that was because I was going to promote you. Stop being in competition and we could both run our own sections of the company and not keep stepping on each other's toes. And I was just like, wow, foot in mouth at that very moment. This scene kind of made me like, not cringe more so, but just kind of be like, y'all, that is illegal. You cannot be doing that. But we see Kelvin and August back at their old high school on a football field and bleachers, whatever. Again, rolling down memory lane. I also, at this very moment, realized he has not been wearing his ring, which is good. Kudos to him. He might have not been doing that for the past couple scenes, but I just so happened to notice at this exact scene. And I'm just like, okay. And she has this cute Burberry trench coat on and she takes it off and she's like, it was like, bring it on right then and there. She had on her cheerleader outfit and he was like, oh, you still remember how to do that move I like? And they sold their royal oats right then and there. And I'm just like, that is illegal on school property, but go off, sis. Go off. And the last scene we get of this episode is Bridget and Rose coming back from their night dancing and they're both lit. They're feeling good or whatever. And they come back to Bridget's house. She's still pouring up the drinks and the wine, of course. And she starts to be like, you know, can I tell you something or whatever? And Rose is like, yes, of course. And this is when things got real intense. And I cannot wait to see next week's episode because Bridget goes on to say, I've always knew that Reggie's been my dad for a very long time. And this only solidified throughout the whole episode. Bridget was kind of like, Like last week, you know how we were all like, no, it cannot be Bridget. It definitely can't be Bridget. Like, how dare they say it could be Bridget? But this week it was like, because we also see when she was leaving the house after she got her bag, she got a phone call from some guy talking about, you're not going to be working at Sean and Sean. What happened to your plan or whatever? And she was like, oh, I'm going to get in a different way. Don't you worry. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then her acting weird, like she was just kind of acting super weird. And this only brought it up like 20 notches when she goes on to say, yes, I've been known that Reggie was my dad, and I think that you and me should be together. You don't even need them. We could be together. Kisses rose, and it was just like, okay. Before, I told you, like last week or so, I saw some chemistry between them. I told y'all, I knew this was gonna happen, but at the same time, it's still like shocking when it happens. So I was like, okay. And they kiss again, and Rose was like, no, I can't. But they kiss again, and Rose was like, no, I can't. Before storming off finally. And it's like, wow, that's wild. And what's even wilder is Dana saw it all on camera. Because as we know, Quincy put those cameras in audio recorders or whatever. I think it was just cameras actually. In Bridget's house. So y'all, we will see how this continues to unfold, but this was definitely a good episode. I hope y'all enjoyed this recap and review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.